Hey, one of the questions I get the most is, Jason, when will home prices actually drop so I can afford a place? Will home prices drop in 2024? Well, today we're going to look at some leading indicators to understand where home prices could go over the next few months. We're also going to hear from Kelman, the CEO of Redfin, and find out what he has to say about the housing market. All right, you don't want to miss this. Some awesome data if you are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. All right, let's get to it. All right, to kick things off, we're going to look at some weekly Redfin data. Redfin puts out a market update every week. I do a live, by the way, on Thursdays or Friday mornings usually, where I cover the latest Redfin data. But to start, we're going to look at where home prices have gone and where they are according to Redfin. Now, according to Redfin's latest update, the median home price in the United States, and keep in mind, median is not average. Median is if you line up all the homes that sell in a time period and you pick the one in the middle. That's median or middle. The median sale price back in January of 2024 was $361,000, according to Redfin. It climbed every week, basically, and now it stands at $394,000. So the median sale price has continued to go up week after week, month after month, according to Redfin. And if you look at most other data providers, they're saying the same thing. Now, the truth is, a lot of people on YouTube and in the media were hoping, wishing, and wanting for some kind of massive price crash. But we didn't see that this year, and we didn't see it last year. According to this Redfin data, we continue to go up and up and up. So again, the question is, will we start to see a decline in this price run-up? All right. So we're going to hear from Kelman now, the CEO of Redfin. I'm going to play a couple of clips from an interview he did with David Lin. And I think what he says is dead on regarding the stress home buyers go through. I think that he hits the nail right on the head with that. And he also talks about where home prices could go during the summer. So check this out. Before we dive into the Kelman video, do me a favor, like and subscribe to my channel. I post updates about the real estate market all the time. Thank you so much.
And it used to be that you kind of had to win the lottery if you lived in San Francisco or New York, but in the rest of the country, you could have a working class job and still afford a home. But because remote work let people leave San Francisco and New York and still keep those high paying jobs, it's the rural parts of North America that have really seen home prices shoot through the roof. And so now that anxiety that we once saw concentrated in the big city is everywhere. And it means that you really have to do well to be able to afford a home.
Yeah. So tell me what you thought about that part of the video. He's going to get to the home prices in a second, but I thought this was really telling. Historically, everybody in the expensive markets, you had people wondering, how can you afford homes out in these markets? And I imagine buying a home in the markets like New York, Florida, LA was really difficult, right? That was like a really difficult market. But then that anxiety and that stress spread into the middle of America. So just like here locally in Columbus, I work with buyers and sellers all the time, and they're stressed. I mean, the amount of stress that new buyers go through trying to understand what's going on with the market, but also, making bids on homes and getting beat, having to compete with other buyers constantly. That's stressful. And they actually end up taking breaks and saying, Jason, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too stressful. I'm done. And I admit it's stressful for me too, because I'm trying to help them. So anyway, I thought that was really good how he explained that stress that's coming into, even the more affordable areas of the US. All right, now he talks about the prices where they could go over the next couple months.
Vindication, baby. I think that's starting to happen right now. So we really saw in the first 3 or 4 months of the year, new listings accelerate. Now there's just a large number of active listings. The only reason those two metrics are different is because active listings also accounts for the fact that homes have started not to sell, that they're sitting on the market. And so when homes sit on the market, you start to see prices soften. The parts of the United States that were the hottest, literally, and in the market, Texas and Florida, now are seeing major price cuts, homes getting delisted because they can't sell. Almost every real estate broker is having conversations with home sellers about when you're going to mark this property down so we can get it to move. And real estate is just really sticky. It's not like other consumer products where a manufacturer is very rational about the pricing and immediately drops its price whenever it sees a lull in demand. Homeowners are emotionally committed to their property. They have in mind a number and they're loath to give it up. And so that makes home prices stickier. But still, I think it's going to be a pretty soft summer for home prices. Luxury is holding up a little bit better. But the middle of the market, which has actually been the hottest over the past 3 or 4 years, that's where home buying demand has significantly softened.
So there you heard it from Glenn Kelman, the CEO of Redfin. He's saying home prices will probably be soft this summer. Now, what does soft mean? Well, different things to different people. Normally it means near flat, maybe a little negative. He's not predicting a crash, but he's also not predicting home prices that are going to continue to just escalate. It's because of inventory, right? New listings, more new listings equals more homes on the market if the demand that's on the market is not able to absorb those new listings. And that's what we're seeing. So that, my friends, is where the rubber meets the road. We're going to look at new listings, active listings, and how long those listings are actually sitting on the market. This is our deep dive. Awesome stuff. Here it comes. But comment, tell me what you thought about Glenn's information there. I thought it was actually pretty good. It seems like he's being somewhat realistic. Nice to hear that. So this map is from Lance Lambert at Resi Club Analytics, and you can go to his website, subscribe to his newsletter, and receive information, almost every other day, it seems like, about the housing market. And it's quite frankly information you don't see from many other people. He does have a paid subscription that's well worth it, but we're going to look at this map from him, and this shows inventory, active housing available for sale, and the shift from May of 2023 through May of 2024. So the darker green is more inventory compared to last year in May. The brown is a decline in inventory. So one of the things you can see is there's a lot of green, not a lot of brown, meaning most areas are up with active inventory. And again, it's about supply and demand. It doesn't matter what side of the coin you're on, whether you're a bear or a bull, or you really think the housing market's going to crash and you want doom for everybody, or you're somebody who thinks there's no end to the housing market increases, like Dave Ramsey, who's like, hey, housing prices always go up. Whatever side you're on, it's the same dynamic that controls it, and it's supply and demand of houses. So more houses come on the market. Theoretically, if the demand can't keep up with buying those homes, inventory will build and prices will come down because there's more choices, more available homes for sale. So if you take a look at this data, this is by county. And so we're just going to go to some major areas here. So Miami-Dade County, for instance, is up 44.5% in the number of homes for sale, active homes for sale. Let's go to Harris County, Texas, which I believe is Houston, 40%, a 40% increase in the number of homes for sale. Travis County, Texas, which is Austin, 35.7% increase in the number of homes for sale. Let's stay on the East Coast here. Horry County, South Carolina, which is Myrtle Beach, 63.1% increase in the number of homes for sale, 63% increase in inventory. So Cook County, Illinois is actually down 0.8% year over year. So there's 0.8% less homes in Chicago available to purchase than there was last year. Interesting, right? There are areas that are down. Like look at Las Vegas, Clark County, Nevada, down 32% in active available inventory. If you live in Nevada, I'd love to know what's happening there, especially Las Vegas. Like, did everybody just run in and buy the inventory? Because I know the inventory actually increased over the last couple of years, but now it's down year over year. But most of the map is green, right? So I live in Ohio, near Columbus, Ohio. Let's look at that. Franklin County, which is Columbus, Ohio, 23% increase in the number of homes for sale. Los Angeles County, California, up 34% in the number of homes for sale. San Diego, up 64% in the available inventory to purchase. That's a big increase, right? But basically, everybody is up. There are areas, like I said, that are down. Some parts in Kansas here are down in inventory. Cheyenne County, Colorado, down 75% in available homes to purchase. Fulton County, Pennsylvania, down 40%. Fleming County, Kentucky, down 36.7%. But if you look at some states like Florida, California, Arizona, New Mexico, a lot of those states are completely green, except maybe for one county. So like in Florida, all these counties are up significantly year over year in the number of homes for sale in active inventory. All right, so now we're going to take a deeper dive into inventory and find out exactly what's going on at a metro level from a 5-year look back, 1-year look back, and even a month look back. So this is even a deeper dive than what we just did. So the first thing we'll look at is new listings, homes that are newly listed on the market. This shows us the top 100. I just sorted this for the top 100 US metros. This information is from Lance Lambert as well at Resi Club. And as a premium member, you can download this inventory tracker he puts together and updates each month. Unbelievable data that I haven't seen anywhere else. And it really gives us a picture of where inventory has gone over the last 5 years, what's happened with it. And again, I filtered this just for the top 100 because he gives us over 800 metros, but I thought the top 100 would give us some good stuff to look at. All right, so since we're talking about new listings, how this works is the first column tells us the 5-year change from May of 2019 to May of 2024. And then May of 2023 to May of 2024. So 1 year look back, and then a month over month metric, how it has done just from April of 24 to May of 24. So in new listings, Hartford, Connecticut is down 48% in new listings compared to 5 years ago. Hartford is down 14% in new listings from just a year ago and up 9% in new listings from just a month ago. So I think this data is fantastic. Tell me what you think below. How much does inventory matter in the housing market? Are you seeing a lot of inventory build in your neighborhood? I want to know. So number 2 on the list, if you look back as to where we've gone over the last 5 years and who's down the most in new listings, 48% for Bridgeport, Norwalk, Connecticut, another Connecticut city. So you see what I mean? I have this sorted by smallest to largest, but we're talking about inventory growth, so let's look at the opposite. Where has it grown the most? So in the last 5 years, if you look back 5 years and just take the top 100 metros, McAllen, Edinburgh, Texas, up 22% in new listings. Cape Coral, Florida, up 18% in the last 5 years. Not the last year, we'll get to that in a minute. Last 5 years. Lakeland, Winter Haven, Florida, up 16% in new listings. Palm Bay, Florida, up 13%. Bradenton, Florida, up 10%. Myrtle Beach, up 7%. So all these cities, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 metros actually have more inventory than they did pre-pandemic. All these metros, there's 7 of them, actually have more new listings than they did pre-pandemic. Not inventory, more new listings. Now, let's look at May to May, so year over year. Who has the most growth in new listings? Number 1 in new listing growth year over year, Seattle, Washington at 37% growth in new listings. Then you've got Texas, McAllen, Edinburgh, Texas, who was up for the last 5 years too, but now it's up year over year. San Jose's on this list, Oxnard, California, Tampa, Denver, San Diego, Baton Rouge, Orlando, Daytona Beach, Tulsa, Oklahoma. A lot of these cities are on the coast, right? Look how many metros are up year over year with new listings. I mean, look at this middle column right here. You've got a lot. I mean, almost all of them, right? I mean, how many are down? Let's look at that. How many are down year over year in new listings? 18. So we've got 18 metros of the top 100 are actually down in new listings where inventory is probably not growing. But most of the top 100 metros, a good portion of them, are actually up, have more new listings than last year. Now let's look at month to month and see what happened. There's 53. There's actually, if I scroll down here, there's 53 metros that have fewer new listings than last month from May to April. They actually dropped in new listings, which means there's 47 that actually increased in new listings month to month. I thought that was interesting because on a year over year basis, most of the metros were increasing new listings, but when you look at month to month, most of them are actually decreasing with new listings. So the new listing extravaganza could be ending as fast as it started. I don't know. The areas that had the highest growth in new listings month over month, Syracuse, New York, Portland, Maine, Springfield, Massachusetts, Albany, New York, Rochester, New York, McAllen, Texas, Worcester, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, Buffalo, Hartford. I mean, look at this list. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the top 10 are in the Northeast. You've got New York, Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. Like they're all in that northeastern area. Thought that was really interesting. Maybe because the inventory's been so bad there that it's not hard to increase new listings like that month over month. Let's find out where it dropped. Where did new listings drop the most? Austin dropped the most in new listings month over month. So yeah, Austin could be price declines there, could be slowing if they're not adding more new listings than last year, and that's not accelerating. Winston-Salem, North Carolina is up there. Omaha, Nashville, Memphis, Cape Coral, Florida, Birmingham, Oklahoma City, Miami, Greenville, Jackson, Florida. Those are some of the top ones. So yeah, I mean, get your hands on the Lance Lambert inventory tracker and you can look at your own metro, but there's no doubt that the new listing growth is kind of slowing a little bit compared to where it was over the last few months, right? So that's new listings. I told you we're going to dive in deep. Look at this. Now we're going to active listings. Same drill, right? This line here is the US. So this is the entire US. We're down 33% in active inventory compared to 5 years ago. 1 year change, we're up 35%. Pretty startling, right? And 1 month change, we're actually up 7.27% nationwide. All right, so let's look at where we've grown the most with active inventory. Remember, last chart was new listings. This is active listings. So Lakeland, Winter Haven, Florida, up 43% in active homes for sale. Austin, up 35% in active listings. This is from 5 years ago. So pre-pandemic. And what do you got? You got 16 of the top 100 metros have more inventory than pre-pandemic. All right, let's look at where we're down the most in active inventory. Hartford, Bridgeport, New Haven, Albany, Allentown, Providence. Look at that. The top 6 metros where we're up over the last 5 years with inventory, they're all in the Northeast, all of them. You've got Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. In fact, the top 3 are in Connecticut. So that area's been decimated in inventory the last 5 years. But that's just since the last 5 years. Let's go and look at a year-over-year change since last year. So who has the most inventory growth of active listings in the last year? You got Tampa, 87%. Sarasota, Bradenton, up 80%. Phoenix, up 80%. Cape Coral, Florida, up 79%. Orlando, up 77%. So yeah, year over year, a lot of metros are up significantly in active inventory. So let's look at how many. All but two. All but two. So you've got 98 out of the top 100 metros in the US are actually up year over year in active listings. Month over month, who has the most change in active listings? Seattle, Spokane, Springfield, Rochester, New York, Portland, Maine, Providence, Rhode Island, and Stockton, California. Those are up the most out of the top metros. So Seattle up 31% month over month in active listings. They're still down 19% from pre-pandemic though. Isn't that something? It's crazy. Look at Spokane though. Spokane, Washington up 14% since pre-pandemic, up 42% year over year, and up 24% month over month. All right, one more metric for you in this spreadsheet. This is days on market, because if you're looking for a deal, if you want to find an opportunity, watch days on market. The longer something sits on the market, generally speaking, the more apt the seller is to negotiate. So in the US, 5 year change, days on market is down 15%, meaning it takes 15% less time to sell a home versus pre-pandemic. Year over year, we're up 2.3%. So it's taking 2.3% longer to sell a home versus this time last year. And month over month, we're actually down 6.38. So it's less. So it's actually, homes are selling faster than they did last month. This is according to Realtor.com data. So if you compare it to 5 years ago, there are some states that actually are taking a lot longer to sell homes now than 5 years ago. You got Phoenix, Omaha, Colorado Springs, Kansas City, Portland, Oregon, Denver, Colorado, and Salt Lake City, Utah. Add those up. What do you got? You got 8 of them. So 8 of the top 100 are actually, right now, it's taking longer to sell homes than it did pre-pandemic. 1 year change. So out of the top 100, if you look just a 1 year change, we're actually at 30. So there's 30 metros that it takes longer than it did last year to sell a house right now. By a good margin, some of these, look at Portland, Maine, up 37% in days on market. Phoenix, Arizona, up 35%. Cape Coral, Florida, up 33%. Bradenton, Florida, up 32%. And it's a mixed bag. You got a New York in here, you got an Arizona, you got a Maine, you got some Floridas, you got a Colorado, kind of spread out. Myrtle Beach, right? So in these areas, it's definitely taking longer to sell homes. Now look at the 1 month change. So the 1 month change for days on market, Phoenix is number one at 10%. So almost 11. So in Phoenix, it's taking 11% longer to sell a home than it did just last month or a month ago, from May to April, I guess is how they're grading it, right? What I thought was interesting is if I look, there's only 4 metros of the top 100 where it's taking longer month over month to sell, if you look at the month over month comparison. So in many markets, it's actually taking less time to sell. 46% less time in Hartford, Albany, 41% less time, Buffalo, 38% less time, Akron, Ohio, 36% less time. Yeah, there's a lot of them, right? Here's Toledo, Ohio. Who's buying in Toledo? I don't know. Down 24% days on market. Cleveland down 23%. I keep naming these Ohio cities that are strange, right? Small cities you probably never heard of. Down 19% year over year. I'm sorry, month over month in days on market. There's a lot of data here. It can get confusing. Let's look at where it is year over year. So year over year, Providence, Akron, San Jose, Syracuse, Grand Rapids, Buffalo, Albany, Seattle. These are all it takes a lot less time to sell than it did a year ago. I would not look for prices to decline in those areas. So let's look at 5-year look. Hartford, Bridgeport, Providence, Springfield, Allentown, Worcester, New Haven, Albany, Akron, Ohio. All of these are down significantly compared to 5 years ago. Again, look back to pre-pandemic. Now it takes, for instance, in Hartford, 63% less time to sell a home right now. Again, I would not look for prices to decline in those markets. All right, so now we've looked at new listings. We've looked at active listings. We also took a deep dive into days on market. So what does all this mean regarding prices? Again, supply and demand. So in your specific area, not necessarily just the metro area, but down to your subdivision, your street level even. If you live out in the country and you're trying to look, you got to do a larger radius search. But you need to find out how many houses in your price range are available to purchase right now versus last year versus a couple years ago, and then track that trend. Track how many homes are available in the type of home, maybe the size of home and the price point, and in the neighborhood. Track that on a daily or even a weekly basis would be okay. And then spot a trend. Look at it and go, all right, how is that going? Am I increasing the number of homes available that I want to buy, which is called my buy box, right? Your buy box is basically the criteria of your home that you want to purchase in the area you want to purchase in the price point. And every day you build that list. So you go on and go, how many houses are available in that criteria? You put it in a spreadsheet or write it down on a piece of paper, and then just track that. And that will give you an idea of where prices could be headed soon. If you see that inventory and days on market shoot up and available homes shoot up, then you know that home prices could start to soften. So let me show you what I mean. So if you want to find out how your local market is trending, one of the things you can do is go to Zillow. So I'm on Zillow.com right now. And what I can do is you can draw an area on the map to analyze. So for instance, if I zoom in here and I say, all right, I want to buy in this neighborhood in Columbus, I'm going to click draw, and I'm just going to draw a little circle around this area that I want to live in. And it will search for all the homes in just that little area. Then I can select the different home types. So if I want to look at all homes, that's fine. Not the best way to do it. Probably want to deselect this and actually look at just houses. So I don't want to look at townhouses. I'm not going to look at multifamily, condos, lots, apartments, or manufactured homes. And so this separates it and just tells me just homes. And here I can select for sale, for rent, or sold. To do comparable sales, you would select sold, but I'm using just for sale. So these are available homes to purchase. Now, in the other filters, I want to look at the price range and maybe some other things. So let's say, I want to select price range here in this drop down, and I'm going to say no minimum, but my maximum I want to spend is $250,000. There's 3 homes for sale. All right, so now it narrowed it down to the homes available under 400 grand in this Columbus neighborhood. Now, how many are available? It says 7. Now, it actually gives me obviously the homes over here and the details about them, but what you could do is just write down 7. So you write the date and you know your buy box of what you want to purchase, the type of home, the price point, under 400 grand. Then you just write down 7 underneath active homes. So you can do it in Excel, you could do it in Google Sheets, or you can do it on a piece of paper. The date, today's date, then 7 homes available. Then tomorrow, or even next week, whatever frequency you want, go in and do the exact same search. You can save the search here, actually save it and have it bring it up for you and go, all right, how many homes are available now in that price range in my buy box. And then let's pretend there's 10. Okay, that's interesting. All right, now maybe next week you look at it and there's 15. Maybe in a month, there's 25. Well, if that's the case, if that inventory continues to build, then suffice to say, your market or that buy box in that neighborhood could actually potentially soften with prices versus you struggle to find inventory and the number of homes stays the same. It actually goes down. Then you know, prices could actually remain sticky or even go up. But anyway, that's how prices work, right? Home prices. And that's how you can kind of get a picture of what's going to happen in the near future by analyzing the local level detail nationally. And, from a 50,000 foot view, a lot of economists, people in the housing business, Redfin, realtor.com, even YouTubers like me will just look at a macro level view and say, hey, that city inventory is increasing, new listings are increasing, days on market's increasing. That could tell us that a price decline or softening is coming. And that's what Glenn Kelman is actually pointing to from Redfin. He's saying, hey, homes are sitting longer, inventory's building, people aren't buying as much, prices will probably come down this summer. Now, what happens if you actually find an opportunity or you see a house on this list and you go, hey, is that a good deal? I want to know if that thing will cash flow if I rent it, or could I even flip it? Or what's the equity in that home when I actually purchase it? The good news is I have a free calculator that you can download and use anytime. The link's in my description below. You should definitely check it out. Do that now.